Hi guys, this is Cindy from Part-Time Permies, and
Hello.
he's eating.
No, I'm not eating. I'm done eating.
You're
I'm
done
having a
eating.
glass of water.
As you're clearing out your teeth. No, we both were just eating a second ago.
Just had peanut butter and jelly. Figured
Yeah.
some water to talk.
Yeah, I've only had a bite of that. But anyway, we have a number of people in the room already.
I also realized I'm in my painting clothes and painting hat.
Yeah, it was a busy day.
They never changed.
So, let's see. We have Linda, hello, Incense Shop, Heritage Farms, and Puddin was licking the table. Table full in the woods. Welcome. I think this might be your first live show of ours. Carrie from Built on the Rock Homestead, Green Gables, Wendy, your mom, Tina. Did I say Heritage Farms, Texas already?
Justice
Diana.
Acres.
Justice Acres. Did I miss anybody here? Yeah, that's Diana. Food Forest is in here. Incense Shop, if I didn't mention you already. And Green Raven. Hello, everybody. So welcome to the show. I guess I should double check to make sure you can hear me. I think I unmuted us, but that's always good. Yeah, it looks like we're unmuted. But today we don't have a herb of the week because it's been a bit of a busy week coming back from the roads and getting back into work and all of that. So we figured
an email about bacon.
You got an email about bacon from anyone we know?
From Anna.
Huh?
I had reminded her that we're at day 7 on their bacon.
And they can eat it now.
Well, they need to cook it. I said,
Yes.
You need to wash it, rinse it and cook it. And so
yeah,
she was saying she was going to do it tomorrow. Any recommendations? So yeah. So I will get back to her.
We had bacon today.
We did. We had some of our bacon that I made this fall.
Yeah. So we had some, our bacon you made this fall from the Pratt family homestead, Red Wattle, right?
Yes.
That was that one. Awesome.
Yes.
It was good.
Yeah. We've got I did a different bacon recipe for the roads.
Yeah.
Tailored it more to their likes and their dietary needs a little more. I've been running a maple and brown sugar with a heavy peppercorn crust to balance it out.
Yeah.
And then I do a long smoke on it. But that's too sweet for them. It's not extremely sweet, but it's definitely got a good pack of sugar in the cure. And Anna is Art's sister. That is correct. Yes.
And she has been on Art and Bree's show helping them with their garden and getting it set to plant not that long ago. But yes,
Yes, that is correct. They are family. Not to us, but to them. Yes.
Yeah. So you're right.
So I'll get back to her tonight.
Yep. So.
But basically, we hot cooked the bacon, and they don't have a smoker unless they bought one. And I had to bring my smoker back, and ours isn't big enough to do. They had like 5 sides of bacon.
Yeah.
Or no, what do we have? They had 4, so 8. They had 7 sides of bacon because 1 went to a fresh pork belly. So 7 sides. So,
okay.
But you can since it's usually hot smoked, you can cold smoke and then hot smoke, which is double smoking.
Yeah.
I usually just hot smoke it so it's ready to eat. And so you can always put in your oven. You don't get the smoke flavor, but I put a little bit of natural hickory smoke powder in their brine to give it a little smokiness, knowing that they may just oven cook it.
Yeah.
But you can put it on a barbecue or whatever. So.
Yep. So, yeah. So we had fun last weekend. Last weekend we were live from North Carolina. So on Monday we had to drive back.
That was fun.
That was interesting. It was fun. We had to go through the mountains because usually we go through, well, you always go through the mountains, but usually go through on the highway on 40, but 40 was closed due to a rock slide.
It's closed for
over
a week, although I did see the signs other way seem to be turned off, and I'm wondering if they opened it up but hadn't announced it on Monday because there was weather coming in, which would be, it was getting cold and kind of potential for ice. So they might have opened it up, but it did not appear so in the morning when we checked.
Yeah.
So we did the side road, which is a pretty
mountainous.
There's a decent amount of switchback and some elevation, but we were also at like 29 degrees. So I was just waiting for that 1 more degree drop when everything iced over because it was misting and light rain, and you could see the frost line, and we were just up above the tree frost line.
You could see it in this picture, the frost line on the mountains there. across the
So
valley.
we have 4-wheel drive. I have my snow tires on still, but I had a
Trailer.
what, an 8x12 or a 6x12, 6x12
Trailer on the
double
back.
wheel trailer on back, which was not real heavily loaded, but it's a lot more weight. And of course, they have funny brakes on them. They're these pressure brakes, so it's jerky,
Yeah.
which means if you're on ice, it's
Not
not good. So I was just watching for any sign that things were icing over, because we were going to have to stop and wait. We did see salt on the road in one area right at the North Carolina border to, what is that, Kentucky, I guess?
No, Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah. Tennessee, North Carolina border, they had put, you could see a little bit of pebbled salt.
Yeah.
But we got lucky. We got out of there
before it got too
if
cold.
it did freeze, yeah. And then when we got in about midnight. The last 40 miles as we hit Battle Creek, we had snow squalls and lake effect snow all the way home. And it was getting pretty bad. It was getting kind of hard to see. Not a lot of vehicles out. Nobody had gone off the road. I was just watching. And so I never hit the brakes, I think, from Battle Creek all the way to our house.
Yeah.
And then I kind of landed it like a plane on the exit to, because our exit and right in our stretch has been really bad this year. A lot. In fact, the next day
there were a lot of accidents.
Tuesday morning we had 4 inches of snow came in, or 5. We got it kind of higher than expected. But right at our exit, there was a whole bunch of accidents, and I think there must have been 6 accidents into town. Cindy went into work on the surface streets, and I waited to go in. I had to do, maybe that was Wednesday. No, that was Tuesday.
No, you went in.
I had to go and do something. I had to get supplies or something. So I waited for a long time before I went in. Oh, I had to return the trailer.
Yeah, of course.
And so I waited to make sure things cleared, and it did, because it was just strewn with, you couldn't get through. So it was pretty crazy Monday, Tuesday around here.
Yeah, it was a little interesting getting in, and we got in after midnight, or about midnight on Monday night.
Yeah.
And I had to work Tuesday, so that was a little tiring.
I had to unload all the gear, and I had to get it all back in place.
Yeah.
And then I had to wash and clean and sort everything. Some of the gear came out of my manufacturing kitchen, so I had to soap and sanitize and dip legs. And we were just up on a hill near their barn, so it was just mud. It wasn't pasture. Yeah. But I had
near the old barn.
Yeah. So I had to heavy clean everything and make sure it was demudded before I put it back into
demudded
use.
And degreased.
Yeah, and I was doing some additional pork degreasing to make sure, with really hot water, to make sure we had cut all the grease and it was double washed.
And food forest permaculture.
Yeah.
Stinging nettle tea soon. This one's mint tea.
Well, that sounds good. I really like stinging nettles.
Yeah.
To be we got a couple months before we'll have young nettles in the market. But farmers market opens in about 7 weeks.
We don't have a lot on our property. I haven't.
We're not wet enough.
We probably could grow it here, but
we're not going to grow it.
No.
We have plenty of access. There are a few people that will bring it to farmers market. Yep. 1 or 2 groups.
Yeah.
They're cheap, and so.
Yep. So last week in North Carolina, if you haven't checked out last weekend's live show, I know we haven't done any videos since then, because it's been kind of tiring and crazy since we got back, but I'm working on them.
Got some good stuff. We've got like 3 different topics of good stuff that's
just coming through.
Pent up and can't make it through editing.
Yeah, so I'm working on one from before our trip. I got to get done first, and then I'll do one from our trip. But and we got I have so many.
So you got one left on our local pork project?
I have one left from the community pork project from last fall.
Michigan pork project.
We'll continue the series with the breakdown videos that you had from the red wattle that you got.
Oh, which happened in November or December.
So that's from last fall too, but I'll just continue that series. We have a video that I have to get done for the All-Star Chefs event, which is a behind the scenes of the Kalamazoo All-Star Chefs.
Plant stinging nettles in them for the rest of your life. Yes. Yeah, I know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, but so I am going to actually, that reminds me, one of our local, I think PJ planted stinging nettles under one of his apple trees and now is regretting it because he wanted some. Again, he didn't have any on property.
People say that about sunchokes. how bad you. There's a couple other things that were there's like.
But stinging nettles sting you. Sunchokes do not.
No, they just go nuts everywhere. But they're
They're edible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so the Behavior was talking about the cross vlogs of Art and Bree and the Hollers and Justin. I had actually pointed out to friends who don't follow any of it, that just were chef friends that were interested in what we were doing. I said, you have to watch the Hollers video, which was really good. I actually didn't catch up too much in Art and Bree. I saw their live, a little bit of their live. And then you have Justin's. And I said, so you watch these and understand that they're all being filmed simultaneously, but each family had their own projects going. And so it's a very, in sort of our current technology and everything going on, it's a very interesting that you're getting in, and we didn't have anything much going because we were pretty busy. So you have 3 different families with pretty substantial channels doing their own take.
I'll probably do a little montage.
And we weren't trying to mirror anything. We each kind of had our own angle, our own projects that we were doing, but they're all focusing on the same weekend.
Yep.
So that's pretty neat. So I would say go watch all of those.
Yeah.
And
so it was Art and Bree was there, the Hollers were there, and of course the Rhodes. We'll get a little montage. It won't be anything. It'll probably just be a little snippet.
Cindy was doing a lot of still shots.
I did mainly still shots because we also are putting together a booklet that will be for sale on how to. You've pretty much put it together. We have to edit it and add still shots to it on the pork butchery, which we'll start selling soon too.
And so edits are probably gonna be a little slower. I gotta hurry up and get them done before market. And we need to get them back with the video. I know the video is. I don't think there was an exact timeline promise, partly because the Hollers are going out to Missouri, and I don't know if that's for a week or longer.
I think they were trying to get it done before they were leaving, but
they left on Friday. I can't imagine that it's done.
Well, she said it would take her 2 days.
Yeah, jeez.
She edits very fast.
But she wasn't feeling well.
No, she wasn't.
And then Justin's doing parts, so I know there may be a little bit of, the timeline was a few weeks out, but I need to get our portion finished up
to go with it.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I just remember, so I consider Ben kind of a workhorse, and Art too. And Ben's video was, God, that was a lot of work. God, I'm tired. Like 4 times this video.
And it was, I love the title because it was all, I don't know, he had something about bacon in the title, but we never ate bacon.
No,
bacon wasn't ready.
We actually ate very little. The last day was the only day we ate any pork.
Yeah.
We had 2 hams that Anna prepared, and then she did. We did some grits with lard. We did some collard greens, and then I had some small tastings of a very little bit of
blood sausage,
Italian sausage. We had 3 different ways.
Did we have the head cheese wasn't ready yet?
No, we never did the head cheese because it was setting up. So they had 2 different ways.
Yeah.
So we had some tastings, but we didn't have any pork to the end because things, we could have, I guess, cooked pork chops the day 2, but that didn't make any sense. So they're all going in the freezer for people. Yeah. So we got some taste, but it was literally taste. Came back here, I'm like, well, we stopped and got barbecue at Red State Barbecue outside of
Lexington,
which is, I guess, a fairly well known.
Yeah, it's this little place that's really just slightly off the highway, off of 75, and was really pretty good.
No, New York Times grabbed them, I think, in 2017 and said they were in the top 25. I thought they were pretty, and I don't know if anybody's been there. It's definitely worth the stop. I lived in Memphis for 3 years and kind of have some appreciation towards that direction. I thought they did a really good job. It's well worth it. I don't know if I would put them in my top 15, top 20, but I mean, to be top 20 around the country, that's a pretty steep, I wouldn't expect any to be. It's kind of luck that you fall in there. So other people may have an opinion. I thought they were very good, but I'm not ready necessarily, without going back 20. There a couple times, to put them in a top 20.
Yeah. Well, did you have fun leading the hog butchery class?
Generally, I mean, I've done a lot of really aggressive big class. This is a 3-day with people that have very limited experience or different experiences, or you don't know how they're coming into it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've done some pretty crazy classes, but this is probably as complex as anything with sort of an amateur group, because we teach a professional level class, and then we kind of ebb and flow and adjust to where people are interested and what works. And so we ended up Yeah, and when you're doing also when first of all, most classes I teach, in fact, other classes I teach, we don't kill things.
Right.
So the process of leading up to preparing to kill and explaining how we're going to do it logistically, why we're going to do it, why we can eat meat, how we should ethically kill,
Hi, Twin Peaks.
setting the actual stage to do it, and then go through the motions in doing it. And nobody had a problem with it. I mean, it's not our favorite part by far. It's kind of the part that we have to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
But the second day, it was
But
interesting though. I will say,
it was work, but it was fun.
Yeah. The second day in the morning was actually breaking it down from the sides all to the pieces. So he did a demo in the morning of breaking one of the sides down to through all the pieces of it. And at the end of the demo, everybody gave you a big round of applause, which was kind of cool too.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and we didn't break into every minute piece, but we got all the key pieces. We did some bone in, some bone out, some chops, showed the techniques, and then everybody else worked on the rest, and we worked through it, and people did very well. I mean, I think people all learned it. Everybody was very happy with, and we talked a lot about why, Justin wanted to know why, and why we're doing this here, why we're doing it on property. But then we talked a lot about how you can kind of come in and out of a project like that based upon your capabilities, your physical time and abilities in tools and space, and that you come in and out of a project by buying or having people finish things or working as groups so that you can make it manageable or you can learn.
So you don't have to raise your own animal to be able to
we don't
learn from this class, actually, because we don't. We bought a hog from the Pratts. They took it to a butcher. They butchered it. We got the hog basically eviscerated, but you break it down from there. So you can buy sides. You can buy
a pork shoulder or a pork butt package, which is like 15 pounds. You could take that home
and
you cut that up right now, fabricated, and you could start making sausage, and you could make 15 pounds of sausage in an afternoon, and that could be a start. Now, for me, doing 5 hogs, 12 people, we really had 30 some people, but 12 participants, beginning to end, managing the pretty wide variety of products that we did, getting it done in 3 days, and keeping it all rolling, because I have a little bit to do in the morning, and then I had things at night. We ran until 9:30 at night. On the second day to make sure we were up and everything was ready to do the cooking, so we didn't run behind. And Ben was helping me on some of that, and Art came out to help me a little bit at the end, and we pushed till 9:30. We had dinner and stuff, but we had people like, hey, why don't you come out to dinner? And I said, honestly, I can't. I'm working and we're not done. I got stuff to do to make sure you guys are all ready. So it's but to manage that big of a project and not having a consistent crew that I work with every day, that's a load of work, and I wouldn't recommend people do that much on their first time, because I've done all these projects. It's more managing the time and making sure they're on direction. I know how they're going to come out. I know I have recipes that are good, and I know I'm capable on completing them. But
some of those recipes are in the book too, by the way.
Oh yeah, all the recipes we did, and a lot more we couldn't do are in our book.
So Heritage Farms, Texas. I know I missed a question a while ago.
Texas brisket.
Yeah. How long did it take you to reach 3,000 subs? Change the topic. We did hit last week.
Long time.
Part of that is going to the roads. Every time we go and do something with the roads, we get a bump in numbers. So
we were 1,300 heading into the new year, I think. 1,200, 1,300 in the new.
And then we flew past almost 2,500 the first time we went to the roads, and then this time we bumped over.
It took a year and a half or something to get to 1,300.
Yeah.
We've gone slow. We've gone much slower than many channels.
And we don't put out material every single day like some channels, and those are the fastest growing channels. We do projects mainly. We don't have kids, and I think channels with kids tend to attract because of the cute effect, which is awesome. But
ours are a little more longer instructional things, just kind of accidentally. We don't have we don't do a lot of metrics. We don't have a program. We
focus on our projects.
Yeah, we kind of what things are naturally falling in place. So we don't orchestrate and adjust what we're doing hardly at all towards trying to key
more and more
driving anything. It's just kind of what it is.
But it's being consistent, and we've had consistent growth. So that's kind of, and thank all of you guys for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
we're
mean it's
probably
crazy to have 40 people sitting here and all hanging out. And
yeah, no, all
so
right. They are
we
40
hope that
people.
you guys are, you know, chatting with each other and learning from each other as much as because
Yeah.
you know the big thing that we noticed when the roads came and other people have gotten the Pratts, people are very normal families,
Yeah.
and at least the group, the Hollers and Art and Break, they're extremely real. It's not reality TV. They don't, you know, it's not
They're
come
not
on set, off set.
yeah.
You know, there are people that do cooking shows and do things that are staged at home that just kind of have um, you know, they turn it on and they professionally do something. It's not fully acting, but then they go do other things.
Yeah.
I'd say for all of these channels, it's when you go and hang out with them, it's exactly the same. They're the
We're
same people.
authentic. We have a pile of boxes behind me trying to burn. We got to burn more of those.
I just burned all the boxes downstairs because I got stuff going on. I'm cleaning up. I was painting.
The pile
today,
behind me has grown a little bit. Usually that's a lot smaller because it's used to start our fire in our fireplace. But
we got yeah, it was we got
what was that?
Utter Chaos Hobby Farm.
Yes,
absolutely. They were with us last weekend.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? That's the real key.
Because you guys were there.
You guys spent a lot of time out of your life and spent money to show up and be part of it. So
yeah.
That's the real test. Is
did the participants have fun? Was the whole goal?
It seemed like everybody learned a lot more in different things than they expected and enjoyed it. I always focused as a chef. I'm like, look, I'm not a butcher. We're going to teach things that are hopefully going to be useful to home, but we're going to push the culinary side so that you not just know how to cut the meat, but you actually know how to use it. That's why for both beef and pork, do we need any more boxes? No, I get plenty. I run my business out of the house, so we have a pretty good flow of FedEx and UPS.
Yes.
Because and I get lots of grain bags. So, but yeah, we want to teach people how to cook, and so Justin really wanted to focus on organ meats and using the head and using the hoofs and things that are harder or scary or just no experience because he hasn't experienced it. So we naturally gravitated to showing a lot more of that.
Yeah.
Because it is important to fully utilize it, but we over focused in those areas because that was a weak area.
For most
instead
people,
of going into other things, we did everything from very traditional to doing each time I did some sous vide preparations,
right,
and trying to pull off something for those that were like something that's very modern and very controllable. Try to pull off some stuff.
Do you do anything like that class closer to home?
Well, we've kicked around
ideas.
So I do a farmers market starting in May, and that runs basically to Christmas. I still do farmers market in the winter, but I can go away every once in a while. We have kicked around doing something. Now we did a local thing, that we were guests to. There's other people that may host something, and we've kicked around maybe host. I have a commercial kitchen downstairs where I actually have prep tables and some light kitchen duty stuff where I could host a small group that we could bring in like butchered, like whole animals that were cleaned and ready to do it. And so we might do something next, but it'd be next winter, probably, because I don't have time in my schedule.
It's really hard to schedule it. I mean, the ideal
I'm done booking.
I mean, ideally the best time to do hogs is in the fall when it gets
cold weather,
colder, like around here probably October, November.
That's ideal.
Because the temperature helps keep the fat solid.
Yeah, it's easier to butcher, and you want the apples and the nuts and all that natural, and the cleaning out the garden. You want all that stuff to go into them for a few weeks.
And Linda, yes, Puddin is behind Mike right now. If
curled
Mike
up like a little wolf
comes over here a little bit, you might be able to see her back on the couch. So anyway, so she's always in the background. You're right. That's our great.
Yeah, we're not burning those fireboxes fast enough.
No, we aren't.
Well, I gotta. That's why they're there. Kindling starts, but I guess we got way more than we need, and we're coming to the end of that.
Yeah, I'm just scanning here for more questions. We did have another new subscriber in there.
Oh yeah,
a few new people.
Pickling spices. That's a good thing. We'll go back to that.
Oh yeah,
that's a fun thing to talk about.
What book did you refer to? Okay.
So we have created packets. We have a packet up on
the beef butchery.
Yeah, and that's on what is it? Road.
That's on Gumroad.
Gumroad.
There's a link
Yes.
to it in the description
Not Silk
below.
Road, not the
No.
not the dark web on
Gumroad. No,
on Gumroad.
there's a link to it down below. If you look in the description, we have a link to the beef butchering guide that Mike
And
put
to
together.
Justin's video.
And to Justin's
Two
video.
different things.
Yes. Justin's video comes with the beef butchery guide, so you don't need to buy the beef butchery guide
I hope
from
he's
us.
sending it out with it.
I think so.
I think he is.
If not, you can buy it.
It's supposed to be that we've all agreed on that.
No.
Yeah, so I wrote a beef guide for the beef portion that's available. And it's
but you can buy that separately down
so
below.
It's sort of a quick published, we've quick published it as a guide to the class and a lot of the background information. So a video shows a lot of the activity and gives, because you need to visually see it, you read it and you just can't comprehend what's going on. But there's a lot more that can't be discussed, and so we have that packet. We revised that packet and built upon it and tailored it for pork. That's what we're finishing. They both come with a lot of recipes, totally different. A lot of them are mine, or they're adapted from things I've been working through for years and adjusting. I mean, all your sausage and curing and brining are really very similar, no matter who you go to, if they're a well prepared recipe. But we all have our likes, our uses, and our nuances. So I accidentally wrote this packet, and so we decided we would put it into it's a lightly published form. It's not perfect, we're always kind of adjusting it, but it's a PDF, and that's available. So if you want to dig in, and it's a lot about what is meat, what are all the different parts, how do you use things chemically, culinary wise, tough cooking, what's tough, what's lean, why do we do things, what's the philosophy of eating meat, or we've sharpening knives, all that type of stuff. I kind of said, what have I done in 20 years off the top of my head I feel is important. All of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, this is a big packet.
Yeah.
So yeah. Knives, I believe in sharp knives over expensive knives. Sharpening them regularly and
not
knowing how to use them.
Steel, because steel just straightens them, right?
Yeah, so you steel them as much as you need them, but you need to I like to hand sharpen with a whetstone, but you can do an oil stone. Whetstone can be used with oil, but I like to use a water whetstone, or you can send them out to have them ground occasionally. I do like the European style knives, but I don't have a one. I mean, I use some Hinkles. I have some a little bit of Wusthof, which they're overpriced in some ways. But you've got all kinds of. I've got Lamson Sharp. I've got a Sabatier, French. But I find a lot of the American stuff, especially for butchering. We actually did talk about that. The plastic handled stamp knives, not forged, they'll run you $15 or less, because you beat on them pretty hard on the bones and the meat, and you sharpen them a lot
when butchering. Yeah.
And butchering, and that's what I brought to the class. I recommend buying a FDix, Forstner's, Victorinox,
something cheap
that are pretty cheap, keeping them in good shape and using them, and don't feel bad. I don't know what happened to my knife sharpener. And I do not like the grinding knife sharpeners. Most the pull through, I think they're very rough and hard on them. Now a belt grinding, works nice, but most of the stuff they sell, they work and they're fast. But if you teach yourself to sharpen a knife, I think it's a better edge, and I think you're going to lose a lot less of your knife.
We should do a video on how to sharpen knives.
We should. Ben should do a video on sharpening knives too.
He was good at it.
Well,
except to cut himself.
He makes knives. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was tired. He cut himself twice sharpening the cheap knives for everybody
at 9:30 at night.
I told him. I said
gotta be careful.
I said, people don't appreciate the sharp knives as much as you appreciate your finger. Don't go crazy tonight. I'm like, stop cutting yourself. We'll be all right. Yeah. But he did. He sharpened them. I belt ground some of them between beef and pork because we beat them up. They're just dull. Also, your factory edge that comes on it doesn't last very long because it's kind of thin. So once you start establishing a better edge. So yeah, we sharpened them once, and then after day 2, we're like, we really need to sharpen these because people are going to. By the way, you cut yourself more often with a dull knife than a sharp knife because you put too much pressure on and it slips. So a sharp knife will cut you deeper but cleaner and less often. So
yes. I've never...
Sharp knives over dull knives always.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I wanted to go back because Utter Chaos, who was at the beef butchery, said they enjoyed it the whole weekend. Said you are very knowledgeable, and so glad you got some of your pasta, which we brought with
We
us.
gave out some pasta, and people bought some pasta, and
And
yeah, that was just a
her mom
side.
can't stop talking about how nice everyone was. Everyone was
Everybody
very
was
nice.
great.
Yeah,
We had a lot of fun, and
it was a
people
good
came
group.
from very, very different, backgrounds.
Yeah.
I don't even know Rada knives or Rada knives, honestly. If you're looking for wood chips, can't get them at Walmart. Oh, you get them as pet bed.
Pet bedding. Okay. Yeah. We don't do wood chip mulching here. We do leaf mulching just because that's
Well,
what
we
we
do a
have.
lot of wood chip because we have bedding from our chickens,
Well, yeah.
and
Okay.
that provides.
We have pine shavings, so
Yeah,
they're not
we have a
chunky.
lot. Yeah, we have
They're
a lot of
soft.
leaves, and
Yeah.
then we have our pine shavings with our chicken
Yeah.
manure, and that satisfies that.
Yeah.
Peanut shells. If you can get a lot of peanut shells from somebody, they're wonderful because they break down easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And
Actually, the best way to get wood chips,
twigs work.
twigs work great. Anything under what 2 inches, inch and a half, 2 inches is
Yeah.
green manure. Um, the best way to get stuff is to
Ask a tree trimming service.
yeah, well, you never, and you gotta, if they're doing disease stuff, sometimes they
Yeah.
know, but yeah, getting it by the truckload because the bag load gets crazy expensive. If you can get a couple yards dumped, dropping it off is almost as expensive as buying the grind.
Did you try the potato sausage yet?
Potato sausage.
Remember, she was talking about potato sausage.
Yeah, did we see a recipe for that?
Yes, I believe
I remember
so.
that, and that was
I
intrigued
haven't
me.
tried it yet. It yeah. Where did was it on Facebook or on
That
one
was
of the
about
comments?
3 weeks ago,
Yeah,
right?
it was. It was before all this trip driving. So, yeah, we have a
Yeah, leaves
thumbs
and
up
grass. Why move stuff onto your The goal of a
Yeah.
sustainable garden has always been
Use what
not
you have.
having to have reducing your inputs to nothing.
Yeah.
Ideally, maybe you do a little mineral supplement. But the idea, if we're constantly having to bring grasses and green manure and trimmings from other property, well, they might need they need their trimmings, although they may not need all of them. If we're constantly trucking stuff all over, we haven't created a balanced operation. That's sort of the problem with factory farming is you have massive lagoons of waste, which is toxic and disgusting, yet we're pumping chemical fertilizer on large fields. It's like, why can't we get our massive lagoons of waste to be a little smaller and get them on the back to the fields where they're supposed to be, so we stop spending money on both of them?
Yeah. So what we
coffee
do?
grounds are nice. Coffee grounds are green manure, by the way, not even though they're brown.
Yeah, they are green material.
Green material.
So they're full of nitrogen.
Yep.
But yeah, so on our property, our biggest source of mulch is our leaves, our deciduous from our deciduous trees. We do have about 3 acres of
Cedar's not very good for mulching.
wood. No,
You're right.
no, that doesn't work.
We
very
have
well.
a bunch of
And
cedar.
locusts aren't that great for mulching
No, it's
either
hard.
because they break down very slowly. But you can buy we have oak leaves, maple leaves, all those around here, tons of them, and black cherries and stuff. But we also chop and drop. You have weeds in your garden, just drop them down. Go through and lay them down. And in fact, some things seem to grow better in your grassy material, chop and drop, than in your leaf material because they're different ways of breaking down. One's more bacterial based, and the other one's more fungal based. So you can experiment with what grows where better, and use leaves on one part of the garden and grasses on another part of the garden. It's kind of what I want to try this year, is kind of dividing the area where
Yeah,
we're
and that's
doing
part
that.
of the food forest is segmenting based upon more natural, manipulating natural surroundings and then growing in those
Yeah.
conditions. I think Cutco knives are actually pretty expensive knives, honestly. And it's completely my personal opinion, but I highly do not like Cutco knives. Most professional chefs would voice that opinion also. However, for home, they may be a good decision. So Cutco knives are very, very hard. The steel is
Right.
very hard, which means when you grind an edge on it, the chances of it staying sharp longer is good. Now, typically you want a moderately hard edge when you're sharpening them because you want to hone it and develop a nice edge without going crazy, but it loses it faster. So they're very, very hard. So they're lifetime or, And they're also, they're guaranteed. So if you damage them or whatever, they'll take them back, and those are all good things. So at home, where you may not maintain your knives very much or sharpen them, having a very hard knife could be a good option. I think they're probably overpriced for what they are and their material, but I don't like that they are so hard, because I
You
want
like
to
to sharpen.
develop that sharper edge and manipulate it. I don't feel like they have a good feel, and they're just not my personal opinion. I think most chefs would mirror that, and that's a pretty fierce debate. But we're pretty adamant about it. It's just kind of it's a thing. If somebody brought Cutco knives into a kitchen, I've seen it. Well, especially a good kitchen, there's pretty heavy talk and joke activity going on. I'll tell you. But there's other things too. So let me on the back end of that. But I don't think they're a terrible purchase for home. Just there is a reason
You have
why
to know what
they are on. Everything has an extreme and excelling point, and they have selected something and understanding why they are what they are, because they're not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad knife. So if you think about shun knives, a lot of people go, "Oh, shun, they're $200, Japanese chef knife, and isn't that great?"
Hey, Trump.
Well, I believe shun originally, before they started shipping to the U.S., was basically a Japanese housewife knife. It was a good knife. It was a common knife, but in Japan, if you were in a serious restaurant or sushi place and you came in with shun knives, they would laugh at you like Cutco or something else coming in, or the little stamp knives you get at Walmart with the little serrations on them, and so it's cross marketing and it doesn't have any stigma. So shun kind of got a good image for quite a while, and they're a good knife.
Thanks for joining
The other
Food
thing is,
Forest.
a lot of the cheaper knives are serrated with the teeth on them. That allows them to not have to be so sharp to cut. They'll continue to cut. The issue with that is, one, they'll really tear your finger up if you get finger, but they shred and they rip as much as they cut, and they'll also leave little sawtooth marks if you've got something that's soft and shiny and you need it to lay down nice, and it'll have that ripple and you'll get beat up, especially in like competition. If they see that,
How many of these people are going to be doing
no,
competition?
so
That doesn't matter.
understand what a
Yeah.
serrated knife is for, and you can't
Yeah.
sharpen a serrated knife again. Well, there's tools, but nobody does it. So I buy like a bread knife that's serrated for $15, and when they wear it down, I just throw it away. So understand, serrated is good for bread. It's good for certain things, and it can work for home. But yeah,
Like
yeah. But they're personal decisions. I wouldn't.
Like old hickory knives, but they take a little more time to care for them because they're high carbon.
High carbon, yeah. High carbon has a wonderful feel. It's sort of like riding a steel bicycle. Um, it's an old style technology, but they're a little soft and they get really, really sharp when you know how to sharpen them, and they just have a great feel and handle to them. However, they're easier to ding and chip and go dull faster, but they also are very susceptible to acid, lemon juice and tomato and things. And then if you don't wash and dry them completely, they do rust. So they're hard to maintain, but as far as performance, they're phenomenal.
The only thing we use serrated for is bread.
Yeah, and then the Rada knives, I don't know about them. I'd have to look them up.
Yeah. And Low Cash Homestead learned how to use to sharpen chisels and razor blades when it was in the Carpenters Union, and uses, what did it say, down lower, sharpening by hand with an oil stone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
Yeah, so sharpening a chisel is pretty much the same. There's two different ways to sharpen. There's a American way and an Asian way. So American way, you're going like this, and a lot of times you use a stone with oil, with with a neutral oil like mineral oil that won't go rancid and stink. And then there's an Asian method where you kind of do a pushing method, which is a little more precise. But they're both, if you know how to do either one well, they're very good. Oil stones work great. What I find is if you take your standard stone and you just use water on it, it also works, as you just need a lubricant to carry the metal filings and whatever. If you have any material coming off, and create a paste and kind of help it. So the beauty of a water stone is, or using the water, is it just dries out and you don't have an oily mess that you have to contain. That's the only downfall of using oil, and that you got to buy the oil and water just comes out of the faucet.
Okay.
Jerome, those are the ones like silver handle.
The Rada knives.
Okay, yeah, I have to look them up. I'm just not familiar with them.
Okay, so a lot of talk on knives.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's complex, and I say a lot of people get Knives are like watches and like cars, and you
All
can buy
stain,
really nice.
all stainless, very sharp, and hold the edge a long
Yeah.
time. Sharpen with the washer tool thing.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I find that knives are like anything. They can be a status symbol. Actually, a good kitchen, they're gonna get banged up, or people are gonna steal them. So you don't want you don't need $300 and $400 and $500 knives in
Yeah.
most kitchens. It's crazy. A good chef knife, a forged European style chef knife is probably about 160 bucks, somewhere in that range. And that's expensive, but if you treat it right, will last
Hi,
most of
Grandpa
your
Jones.
life. But I do think that they're status symbols and they all have purpose. But you can also get a Victorinox hard stamped rubber handled chef knife for $45.
Hmm.
And if you keep it sharp under normal circumstances, it's going to
Work
do
just
that
fine.
job almost as well. So
Yeah.
don't get excited about costs and brands so much as having the right knives and keeping them sharp.
I promise one of your mothers had a set.
Probably.
Probably. Okay.
My mother doesn't have too many. She's in here, but she doesn't have that many knives. She
Are you gonna look them up?
just
So we're looking away from our live stream at the moment as he's pulling up Retta knives.
just want to get a look. I'm probably seeing. Okay.
The stainless, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of people who do the stainless handle. I like the stainless handle because it doesn't break. That's a good thing. Yeah, I have seen those, and there's a few other people that make similar. I do find the stainless steel can be a little slippery, and that if you spend um, too much time cutting, occasionally you get calluses or get sore spots. But that's less so. I have some steel handled Asian knives, a couple of them. But yeah, okay. Now I know what they are.
Yeah, just looked them up. Okay, moved
Yeah.
away from the screen real quick, moving back, seeing if there's anything new here. Um,
What else?
Oh, there are some other things that have been happening around here that I could pull up while people come up with other questions. I'm going to change the subject. One is, well, we're all waiting for spring, right? It's still cold up here. It warmed up a little
It
bit.
stayed cold, yeah.
Lucky's been wanting to go swimming in his pool. He's been walking all over it.
We left the coop door open all day, and he
Yeah.
was pretty active outside. And the birds came out right to the snow line, about 4 or 5 feet. They're anxious and they want to get around.
We
They're
still have
starting to
snow.
eat eggs a little bit. We're upping their scratch and whatever scraps we have,
Yeah.
trying to make sure they got enough protein. But yeah, and we've got a young rooster starting to make a little noise. They're definitely less comfortable and ready to get out
Yes.
for the season. It's been a long, cold winter.
Yeah. And we do have things growing. We started a couple weeks ago, we started some greens inside. These are 3 of the greens that we started. On the far side, there's lacinato kale. The middle row has some spinach. And in the front here, there's some rainbow chard. And there's other things of rainbow chard. But these all had true leaves starting on them. So I actually went and started hardening them off outside in the greenhouse because the greenhouse is getting into the 40s. So I did that for about a couple hours yesterday. I did it most of the afternoon today, and we're going to work them up to it because we are getting warm outside, and it'll just get warmer and warmer in the greenhouse.
Yeah, we're heading toward what, 60s by the end of the week?
We're going to get in the 60s by like
nice.
Thursday or something like that. So our greenhouse will probably have to vent on Thursday, but we might be able to move some of those out there, the cold hardy things. We do have some true leaves on our cilantro.
That looks like cilantro.
That's our baby cilantro. So again, some of these I'm going to have to separate out into separate pots because they're growing a little close, but that's all right.
Do you know when to add rocks to the chickens?
As far as what age? You're talking about grit, right?
Grit, or is there a joke?
No, it's
grit. Yes,
grit.
we do.
You could get baby grit, like really small fine grit for chicks. You don't necessarily need to have grit if they're not foraging. Like if you have them on
grain.
Yeah, if you have them on chick feed, like starter or something,
it's already crumbled or ground.
It's pretty crumbled up, and they can absorb that pretty well. But the grit does help them break it down further. And since we pretty much forage our chicks from day one, we have tractor coops made for as nursery coops where our hens raise our chicks. I do try to give them some of the baby grit because you could get different size. So I get them some baby grit from the beginning. They don't have to have it, but they do absorb things better when they're
But we
on
just
grit.
keep a bowl there all the time, so
Yep.
they get it when they want it.
Exactly.
We
So
haven't had any problems.
I just free choice grit.
And the what is it, 50-pound or 25-pound bag lasts forever. We got really icy right by the door of our barn at one point.
You used to.
I took a little bit of the grit. I'm like, well, this
Did
is
you take the grit
or
or
the
the
calcium.
calcium?
Whatever we had of it. I said, well, this isn't too expensive. I just need a little bit because we're getting an ice pack. I need something to freeze in there so we don't fall
Yep.
over. So we used a little. I think it was calcium actually.
We also do
shells.
calcium free choice, and I use starter feed for starter grower feed for all of our chickens because the roosters and the geese don't actually need all that calcium. So, and we often have younger ones mixed in our flock who aren't laying yet, and they don't need the calcium. So what I do is I just feed them the starter grower for all of them. It's a little higher protein as well, so that's actually good for our geese. But then I do grit and calcium free choice. Sometimes I miss the grit, but I make sure they have calcium pretty much free choice.
Yeah, order grit. Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
UP. Ooh, heard you guys got a whole bunch of snow last night.
Yeah, we got a bunch of rain, or at least north of us. I don't know if it made it all the way to UP.
We were driving from the east side of the state last night.
It was my niece's birthday.
It was 30 degrees, pouring rain. The line markers on I-94 the whole way right now are faded from salt and plows,
And they're not reflective.
And then there was a lot of spray and even a little bit of low fog from the road. It was really hard to see, and I was just waiting for things to ice up, and we got through it, and then it kind of subsided and got warmer as we got across the state. So we got out before it iced. But yeah.
Okay. How often do you give grit? I just have it in a dish off to the side, and they get it when they want.
We've never seen any egg malformation issues or weak eggs, so I think they're getting enough calcium. And they seem to eat fine, so I think they're getting grit.
Yeah. So no, Tina, keep asking the questions. That's fine. I know you're just starting to get your first eggs, so
we got a small egg today.
We got a pullet egg today,
and so I think we got a new one that's coming. When we're low on eggs, we need we're eating all the eggs right now instead of
we sometimes sell our extras, and we don't have extras right now. So
we need all we got right now.
Other things we have growing. This one's a little hard to see in the picture. You might have to use full screen or it'd be hard on the cell phone. But the teeny tiny little celeriac plants that are just starting to grow there. Do I have anything else?
About 12 feet. We were just talking to people. Sydney's sister's other side of their family is. They said they still have 3 or 4 feet of snow pack, and they were expecting at least 4 inches. They left early to shoot up north and try and get across the freeze line before it got too bad.
Yeah. So and then because yesterday was actually my niece Charlie's birthday party that we went to. Her birthday was actually last week when we were in North Carolina, but she had a swim party last.
Oh, bobblehead chip, double yolker.
Hi, Jeff. So, yeah, those are the giant eggs. Yep, you get double yolkers. I've never seen a triple yolker, but I've heard it's possible.
Yeah.
But that would hurt, I would think. Double yolker, yeah. One more growing picture. We have bunching onions growing, and we also have leeks growing. So happy about that as well. So number of things. We got to start a few more seeds to get our brassicas going.
Question was what type of chickens we raise, and then Chris. Louisville, we were just doing Louisville. As we were talking earlier, if you weren't here, we ate at Red State Barbecue. If you have any opinion on it, we thought it was pretty good.
It's outside Lexington, so I'm not sure if they've been.
Oh, that's right. Lexington, not Louisville. I'm confused.
Louisville.
Yes. Sorry, we're a little Lexington.
No, that's cool.
A little farther away.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, it's same state.
Yes.
A few hours away. But yeah, so what kind of chickens do we have? Well, our chickens actually most of them came with our house when we moved here about 4 years ago. So originally the flock was Rhode Island Reds, Buff Orpingtons, Light Brahmas, and Silver Laced Wyandottes. And then there was a separate flock of Silkies. And the Wyandottes, there were only 2 of them. They were mean, so they actually got culled. They were in the first group to get culled because they were picking on everybody. So what we did was we just let them cross. So we had a Rhode Island red rooster who was a great rooster and took care of his chickens quite a bit. The light Brahmas, we ended up losing 3 out of 4 of them the first summer. They were complete free range, and we had a coyote take them out midday. But the last one I did breed back to the rooster and kept her going because they're great because we also use these for meat and eggs. We don't have meat breeds. As far as the silkies go, we use them primarily for eggs and to be mamas. If we have extra roosters, we take them out too for meat, which you can eat silkies. They're just tiny, and they have dark meat, like grayish black colored meat. They taste the same, but it's just different color.
What was the other?
And we did buy a rooster that was a Chanticleer.
Yes.
So we wanted to bring in more cold hardy stock because our breeds that have the large combs, like the Rhode Island Reds, the ones with the largest combs are the ones that are more likely to get frostbite in the winter. And we did adjust our coop to try to allow for more ventilation and everything. We have a video on that if you need. To try to keep everybody going without any heat lamps or rarely use any heat. And so we did bring in Chanticleer, which is a breed from Quebec area. So very cold hardy.
That's a cross between 3 or 4.
Originally, yeah.
So
yeah. And there's a couple. This is the original white Chanticleers. There's another type of Chanticleers that are actually completely different crosses. They're not really related, but they also call them.
Do we have a compost pile? We do. We have a stick pile waiting to go to Hugo. We have some leaf. We have a little bit of bedding. We don't have big piles because we're using it fast enough.
Our compost, pretty much, our kitchen scrap goes to our chickens.
And yeah, we were holding some of that, but that's all going to chickens. And so then we do the deep bedding chicken. We're going to a very limited, well, basically a no-till, and we're moving our garden very little. So we're building on that and just loosening and planting. So yeah, we do. We definitely work with a lot of compost, but we don't have a traditional compost pile right now.
What we do, and I do have a video on this too, but we basically have winter coops for the chickens that have deep litter in their coops, and then the runs are partially covered outdoors. And so what we do is they are in there all winter. We move the material from the runs into the garden. Usually we do this in the fall after it's been sitting pretty much the year. Move it into the run and move it into the garden while the chickens are out of there because we have mobile coops during the summer. We move the material from inside the coop into the run, and then we put new material in the coops. So we have this 3-part rotation.
And we didn't get it all out last year, so we could dig at least a foot down.
We got the main coop out. We didn't get the silky
coop. We need to access.
We need to pull
more. We just got busy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, well, our channel name is Part-Time Permies for a reason. We both work a lot. So I work full-time, you have your own business, and so we do all this on the side. So we do what we can.
Dead coyotes, that's interesting. We got lots of coyotes around here. I haven't seen any dead ones.
No.
But we definitely, the coyotes were a little while ago and crazy. And no, we don't have any broody hens right now, but that could change any time.
Tina, we have one bucket that we keep in our kitchen for all our kitchen scrap, and all of it goes to our chickens. They don't eat all of it, but whatever they don't eat will break down in the run.
Yeah, we put everything, coffee grounds, coffee filter, paper filter goes in there. I'm the only one who drinks coffee, so it's not a lot. I don't think they eat that much, but it just goes into compost. They do not like the onion ends and skins.
They don't like orange peels.
They, of course, don't like, orange peels. Most other things they're pretty good with. We limit our meat and cooked food scrap just because of animal activity and smell. However, we do occasionally put a little something in there, especially like, any ends, trims. Oh, they don't like potatoes, but they'll end,
uncooked potatoes.
Potato peel, uncooked, rotting potato. that'll end up in there anyways just to compost, but they won't eat that.
Yeah.
But I would say 90% of things coming out. And if you have some leftovers that just bulked up, like starch or vegetable that was cooked and it's getting really old, I'll dump that in there occasionally, and they'll eat that up too. So, but they'll eat anything, almost anything.
I'm just watching this conversation between Jerome and Jeff about getting the sex link so that there are no roosters. And Jeff says the roosters are delicious. And I agree.
And any of them that you hold for 2 or 3 years, when you get through all of that, they're really
low and slow
good.
and wet cooking, and they're really good. They're really flavorful. But Jerome's wife won't let him kill anything, so that's fine. My sister won't eat anything, any chickens that we
there
have.
are some nice compost containers, and I'm sure Lemons has stuff that have some have charcoal filters in the top to try and reduce smell. We have a 1.5 gallon plastic bucket. It's wide open.
It was an ice cream bucket.
We leave it on the counter. It goes out every day or every other day. Very rarely does it smell. So while I was keeping stuff in the fridge when we were trying to do compost for a lot of chickens, and I would actually try and let it ferment and build up a little bacteria to help start it. At this point, we're not too concerned about that for food. So we will rinse it down when it gets nasty, or we'll actually wash it very occasionally. The one thing we have to be careful is where you lay down that bucket after you give it to the chickens. It doesn't end up in the chicken run, because you could be taking chicken poo on the bottom and putting it on your counter. So we also try and keep it generally in areas not right in our food prep area, just in case. But that cross-contamination could be an issue.
Noah's Ark, yes. A coyote could bother a young child. Probably not a very large child, but a young one, absolutely. So you got to be careful.
Especially right now, because they're kind of, if you had a lot of snowpack, they're kind of hungry.
Yeah. I mean, they will hunt. They will even hunt up to small deer and get them. So you got to be careful with them. They are leery of humans usually. So, but I've seen them go across our backyard. Now we do have a fenced in area with a 6-foot fence just outside our door for the dog. So that area is probably safer than, say, back further. But
we rarely have had problems with fruit flies. It can happen.
We also keep washing out.
So
periodically.
But if you have problems, well, we have a fridge in the garage. It's sort of a catch-all fridge for produce or extra beverage, or holding something that was brining. So if ideally you can chill your compost. That's what you do in restaurants. We'll chill it and hold it in even garbage sale. Some hotels have garbage rooms that are chilled to prevent the stink and the bug buildup until you get it out of the building into the trucks. So if you have an opportunity to chill it, that would be great. And once fruit flies are hard to knock down.
Yeah, they are hard to get rid of. And Carrie, the coyotes have no fear of humans in Texas. We do have a number of people nearby who will shoot at them here. Well, we did. They moved away, but
Well, Dan says that if he saw him, or he's got young kids. He saw him in the backyard and had the opportunity. He mostly has bow and arrow, but he would shoot at him.
Yeah, so that's our next door neighbor.
We don't really put any food garbage. I mean, grease, bones go in our regular garbage. But compostable stuff. We get a reasonable amount of clean cardboard. That I stack up until we have a modest amount, and then we just burn it on our wood burn pile. And we really only burn clean, clean board, not plasticky stuff. So we know that we can go in there and get ash material.
Yeah.
Kind of the assumption is right now compost or recycled material is really low priced and hard. People are having a hard time getting rid of it, municipalities. But even before that, why put it in a truck and truck it all over the place to 5 different places before it turns into something and then comes back? For us, it's actually the most efficient to burn the small amount of cardboard and then regenerate it immediately into the garden next to the fire.
Or you can use it for sheep mulching as well.
You can do that underneath, too. Let it break
underneath your wood chips, or underneath, to prevent some of the weeds. We haven't done that, but a lot of people do that. So
we used to live in the Atlanta suburb. Yeah, you can burn cardboard in the Atlanta suburbs. Sure.
Did I say Texas?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think
if you're in the city, you can't burn.
No. I think she was talking about the coyotes not being afraid. I was thinking it was Carrie who said that. It was Suburban Hillbilly. We did actually in New York when we lived outside New York City. There were coyotes that would come down the rivers right into the Bronx and go. And the Bronx Zoo had problems losing some of their ducks and things to coyotes, which they're in the middle
They
of the
should have let
city.
their wild African dogs after them.
I
They
don't
have the
think they wanted to let
craziest.
them go
They have the
free.
craziest pack of wild African
Yeah, they
dogs
do.
at the Bronx Zoo. That's one of my favorite things to go watch for a few minutes when we went there a few times.
Yeah.
Because they're just crazy. They're so huge paws and funny pattern spots and
Yeah.
huge ears, and they're just totally not like a domestic dog.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so yeah, I only heard of them going after people's dogs. Yeah, they will go after people's
Especially
small
smaller
dogs,
dogs.
cats. We may have lost a cat the first year too, and one disappeared.
He was venturing out and spending time, and
He may have just found a new home
I
too.
think something got it.
Yeah, I think something got it too. But yeah, so we have our one cat, Helix, who doesn't go very far from the house, so and he does well. And he comes in at night. That's the other thing.
Pelham Bay Park, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I know Pelham Bay Park.
Well, it is after 10, and I am exhausted today. I don't know if there's any other questions here, but I think we probably should wrap up for the night. I will work on getting at least one video out this week. We'll see if I could get two, but the one I'm working on right now is going to take a bit of work. It's going to be the chef's dinner, which if you're interested in seeing the background to that, that would be awesome. Coyotes are not as afraid of humans as they should be. No, you're right. I mean, it depends on location a little bit.
How
But
much they're under pressure and feed and
how
but
much
that's
humans shoot at them
they
too.
don't really present themselves much during the day here, and there's like not some they're not really a problem in our area, but we have because
I've seen them during the day.
we're in
But
a woods
occasional.
area, so there's a lot of small animals.
We see
much
tracks all the time.
oh yeah. Yeah.
And
we walk the dog, yeah, right through around the perimeter of our property.
Yeah. We do walk the dog through all that. But well, we should say goodnight. We will be live again next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I did want to do an herb of the week next week. So I'll work on that as well, which is making me think I'll probably do one video and that preparation for the live. So we'll see how far we get on everything. Bobcat put a slice down my cat's back.
Yeah, that is a
Oh my
lucky cat.
goodness. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
we don't have bobcats here. We have bears a little further north.
Yeah.
We
got
might
some
have
big cats here.
cougars.
Yeah.
There's a debate on if they're this far south.
Yeah, our neighbor puts up a game. He puts up a game
camera.
camera. I don't think he has it up right now, but he keeps it up a lot or whenever he's
Yeah.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you like hanging out or
Yep.
chatting with everybody else here. And yeah,
we will definitely see you around.
I put out a couple Instagrams. Got a couple stuff.
Oh yeah, follow on Instagram because I do keep posting pictures on Instagram. That's almost easier than putting up a lot of videos. So if you are interested in what's going on around here, I will keep posting.
Don't have too many big cooking projects this week. I'm trying right now. I pretty much cleared my schedule. It's been really busy this winter with some projects, and especially these two butchering projects took up more time. 3 or 4 weeks of the winter in preparation, everything else. But I pretty much cleared my schedule where I'm starting to focus almost completely on pasta, not booking. Definitely not booking any more big weekends, but even side projects, pretty much moving into getting ready for our extended season and building other aspects of our business. So.
Yep. And if you like pasta, you want to check it out, we have a link for that in to the webpage in the description below as well. We don't have gluten-free yet, so I apologize for those of you guys who are not eating gluten, but if we do have organic semolina pasta. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check out the link in the description below on this video. Should be in there. But otherwise, we are going to say good night, and we will see you guys all next week. Thank you guys for joining us. And I keep seeing the number of people watching go up as I'm saying good night.
It's always funny when we hit 10. 10 o'clock. There's always a surge because it's the end of the
end of the night.
It's a new hour, and you get people regenerating coming off of things.
That's
so
funny.
we always get that bump at 10 o'clock.
Thanks, Tina. Okay, guys, we will see you next week. Have a good night.
Good night.